This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Conclave is a fascinating film, pulling back the veil from one of the most secretive events around an ancient religious organization, electing the next pope.
Cari fratelli, con questo si conclude il...
Edward Berger, who directed All Quiet on the Western Front, really brings out a lot of unexpected elements in this film, from politics, mystery, and an unbridled ambition, all rolled into piety.
Accusing the Curia of institutional corruption.
I thought we were here to serve God, not the Curia.
Oh, don't be naive.
But the events surrounding the election of a new pope is not the only secret to this film. And for this video, we're going to talk about the secret VFX in this Oscar-nominated film that you probably didn't even know were there. The first part of the film we are going to take a look at is the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel scenes. Trying to tackle any film that revolves around the Vatican is tricky, as they do not allow productions to film inside the Vatican. So if you want to make a movie about the Vatican, you kind of have to build it.
It was quite difficult in Rome because, either the Catholic Church owns it and then you can't shoot there, or, it's very expensive, or it's protected. So we really had to piece it together. You say it takes place in 2 rooms, but we must have had, I definitely had many more locations than on All Quiet on the Western Front.
The production team would make great efforts to recreate the look and feel of the Sistine Chapel and the surrounding areas. We had one big studio at Cinecittà, and we filled every square foot of it. You'd come out of one door of the Sistine Chapel straight into those corridors. It was one of those really satisfying challenges. Working with a craftsman in Rome and driving into Cinecittà every day was just so exciting. The history that place gives, you feel inspired by the opportunity to work in places like that.
So we were following the tradition of Italian great artisans.
And you really feel it in those walls, and it is really inspiring to work there.
But the director often likes to film wide-angle shots, and as he describes it, odd angles, looking up from underneath.
We didn't, if I can reveal that, we didn't build the ceiling. So our Sistine Chapel was 7 meters high. And everything beyond those 7 meters is a digital extension, because obviously you can't build it.
Yes, that's right. Many of the ceilings in this film were all digital extensions, with all of the art of the Sistine Chapel added in post-production as well. Now, digital set extensions are a frequent feature in films that often go unnoticed, along with sign replacement or tracking shots like we've covered in the Joker films before, which, if they're doing their job, that's how it should be, right? Invisible VFX. But for all the films people complain about with digital VFX or CGI, few praise or even know that it's there to be appreciated in the first place. And in doing a cursory search on the internet about the making of this film, you don't really see a lot about the VFX in it or find a lot on it. Now, as far as the digital set extensions for this film go, even if you're looking for them in the film, they can be hard to spot because they go back and forth between different sets or locations that are real and not sets. And that combination of both the practical and real world, combined with the digital, really pulls this all together and makes you not even notice it in the first place. Our sponsor Squarespace is also introducing us to a new way of designing a website with its new design intelligence. And it's a lot easier than learning how to play jazz. The cutting-edge AI technology helps you to create a website that fits your preferred style and brand, but without you having to do all the heavy lifting. With dynamic dashboards, website copy, product descriptions, and a whole lot more, this helps you to easily build a professional, great-looking website to drive clients or customers to. And with Squarespace Payments, you can manage all of your payments in one place with methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, and more. You can even collect invoice payments from your clients through Squarespace as well, keeping everything in one location. So be sure to try out the awesome new design intelligence system now at squarespace.com. And when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/FrameVoyager to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using the code FrameVoyager. Now, before we move on to some of the next visual effects sequences, we do need to shout out the visual effects team from UPP, or UP, I think, who has been around since 1994 for the incredible VFX of this production. For this next scene, I'm going to give you the final shot and let you guess for yourself what is digital effects and what was shot in camera. Here you have a wide shot of all the cardinals loading up into buses. Notice anything that you would think would be digital VFX? Take a second to look at it and guess. All right, here is the original shot. Now, there are a lot of obvious additions that you could probably guess from just looking at this for a couple of minutes, knowing that there is VFX in this scene. Now, going from a couple of dozen cardinals to about 50 or more cardinals are added in with 2 buses, and of course, the most notable is the change in the city background. And also one interesting thing to note here, any cars that have color to them have been removed. In the original shot, you can see this red car in the background, and based on the look and feel of this film throughout, and this shot, it makes sense to remove it. Throughout the film, the red robes seem to be what they want you to draw your eyes to. Everything else is very muted and kind of dreary, even some of the art that you see in the Sistine Chapel. And from the original shot, you can kind of feel your eyes pulling to that other red thing in the distance, just like you are looking at the cardinals. So that's why I would assume that they would remove that. We can also see some rather large subtractions from the original shot, like this white building that stands above the concrete one is completely removed, and some smaller things like these 2 flagpoles off to the side are removed as well. Again, getting rid of that red color of the flags. But beyond even these noticeable changes, like this person walking across the street in the background, or even these 2 guys added right in the center. Though for these 2 guys getting added in, I did try to figure out if maybe they used one of these other security people on the off to the sides and just duplicated them here from like maybe a separate shot. It's hard to tell, but it looks like maybe this guy to the right was shot with the car in a similar position, while this guy to the left was not, just because his hand seems to just rest on something in the middle of the air. Let's be honest. This is a few second shot in the film, and you didn't notice it. But all of this breakdown is to show just how complex just one few second shot can be, and all the things that they're rearranging in it to align more with what they're trying to accomplish across the film. Consistency in color and consistency in feel. And just to show this kind of thing happening in another shot, in the same vein as this bus scene, is one of the more striking shots of the film. And predictably, it's a lot of filling out the frame with more cardinals with white umbrellas. But both of these scenes are ones that you really want to pull off well. You don't want to clue in your audience that any of this is manipulated, and for both shots, they are done excellently. The next scene is really fun and showcases how VFX can really enhance even these minor shots, and those are turtles. The turtles in this scene were added in digitally. It adds a bit of depth to the shot and the water while also not distracting the viewer, who would never expect on a casual viewing that there was anything not real happening in the shot. Pretty fun, simple one that you're just not really expecting to have the VFX.
Us, O Lord, and this your gift, which we are about to receive from your bounty.
For our next scene, this is the one that probably surprised me the most, and I'm going to show you the final composition and let you see if you can guess what in the shot was digitally altered. Have your guesses made? Great. Here is the shot before it was digitally altered. As you can see, they replaced all the hands in this shot. Why did they do this? I haven't found a direct answer to this, but I did look into traditional ways for Catholics to fold their hands in prayer, and it would seem the final clasping of the hands version is more in line with what they would do, I guess maybe in this scenario or overall. This to me signals that they got some notes back in post-production or perhaps at a screening and had to go back and fix it. But I'm pretty impressed with the shot. I think you can sort of see it now that you know, but it's really hard to tell in the context of the film that they replaced their hands, which is not a very easy thing to pull off with visual effects. And really, because you're not thinking about visual effects being in this film, you're not even in a state of mind to notice this. But this also, again, shows the great utility of digital visual effects in its ability to fix unforeseen mistakes, especially in a film that is trying to accurately portray an event with a lot of intentionality behind each religious sign or act, meaning that if you messed something up in the heat of production, you're able to fix those small things in post. There are likely even more enhanced digital effects shots throughout this film that we just don't know about. But in making this video, I really wanted to showcase the digital visual effects in the film above everything else, as it will probably remain the least talked about aspect of it throughout its entire Oscar-nominated run. Tell us if you think this film should win an Oscar for Best Picture below, and give a shout out to the great VFX artists that worked on the film. But if you like VFX, but are really into super cool practical effects, be sure to check out our other video on the Oscar-nominated film, The Substance, right here.